Hi, it's me, Rihhadatul Aisy, and I want to tell you about Bristol bus boycott.
So, what is Bristol bus boycott?
Well, we don't want them on there, that's the main reason. There ain't going to be enough work for the whites, let alone the blacks.
The Bristol bus boycott. A watershed moment for Black Britain.
They didn't know that I was black, but it's on my arrival things changed and I become a black person, not a person. At the time, every day there was adverts in the paper for bus drivers and conductors. In Jamaica, I'd never seen a double-decker bus, and when I saw the double-decker buses over here, I thought, oh, I would love to be able to drive one of those.
Bristol and the world. In 1945, the world was changing fast following the Second World War. African Americans were beginning their long fight for civil rights. The apartheid system in South Africa was being intensified and Britain's former colonies were pressing for independence. In 1950s, there were about 1,000 African Caribbean migrants, and around 3,000 by 1962 they faced Rihhadatul struggled to find housing and could only find local jobs. They were concentrated in the inner city area of St. Paul's.
The surprising thing was that the secretary was so shocked when I arrived, and it was a black person.
I could hear her saying, Mr. Bailey's here, but he's black. He's black, he's a black man. And I could hear also that the person in the other rooms saying, tell him that the vacancy is filled. And this was only an hour after I had confirmed that I was going to have an interview.
In 1960s, Bristol's bus service were operated by Bristol Joint Services, jointly owned by the Corporation of Bristol and the Bristol Omnibus Company. The local branch of the union passed a resolution to ban coloured people from working as bus conductors and drivers in 1955. In 1961's, the Bristol Evening Post exposed this racist policy, but company manager Ian Patey defended it. He argued the quality of Bristol's black workers was too low for the frontline jobs of drivers and conductors. He feared it was unsuitable for white bus conductresses to work with black male drivers. The local council supported the policy, and bus drivers were given the right to refuse to transport black passengers based on their behaviour. This is done arbitrarily and is discriminatory.
We intend to go on engaging white labour rather than coloured labour.
In April 1963, this policy caused anger among the local black community. Activists such as Paul Stevenson began organising protests. The boycott was carried out by black people no longer using buses for a certain period to increase pressure on the authorities. They have to walk or use other means of transportation.
I was working out how best to bring this to the notice of the public, and it's then I'm thinking of Luther King and his bus boycott. And I decided, yes, I'll ask the people in the city to boycott Bristol's buses.
In August 1963, the protests lasted for 3 weeks. Thousands of people take part every day. This results in financial losses for the bus company. Under public pressure, local authorities were forced to remove discriminatory policies and implement equal access to buses, regardless of race. In August 1963.
There were good support with hundreds of university students that were supporting the boycott was sitting in the road and lying across in front of the buses.
A month after the company conceded, It hired Sikh Ragbir Singh as Bristol's first bus conductor of colour. The campaign's success did not mean that racial tensions, institutional racism and inequality ended on the buses or elsewhere in Bristol. But it did help to pave the way for the UK's crucial Race Relations Acts of 1965 and 1968. It shows us the difference ordinary people can make when they come together to take action against social injustice.